plot apparently to fire a retired General Chiwenga, and they are not doing it directly. They are seeking to do this systematically according to the information that is already on the public domain. Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa wants to dissolve the parliament of Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, I'm trying to open these documents, all of them. I hope I will be able. So they want to dissolve the parliament of Zimbabwe and then stay for around 7 to 14 days according to a plot. And you would not believe whom Emerson Tambutso Mnangagwa is preferring to take over the presidency of Zimbabwe. Quite an extraordinary times ahead. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Unpacking Global News. If you are watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. You know, where I am is cold, but things are about to get cold here. So there is a document I'll be reading to you. You know, the usual documents that always leak, which are called class, in fact, they are intelligence and risk assessment documents. There is another document that has been released. So the plan, it says the report claims that President Emerson Mnangagwa plans to sign the constitutional amendment bill number 3 into law and then resign within 7 to 14 days or use it to dissolve the cabinet. This legal maneuver is designed to systematically fire first Vice President Constantino Chiwenga by ensuring he is excluded from the new government. Install second Vice President KD Mohadi as the temporal interim president while they hold a parliamentary vote within 30 days to officially elect First Lady Auxilia Mnangagwa as president by July 31, 2026. It remains to be seen, though, now that the plan has been exposed, are they going to move around this line of thought? You see, that is quite interesting. Let me read a part of the documents which have been shared on social media. Now, let me read this document as it unpacks it. It says, it's the usual intelligence assessment of Zimbabwe's CAP 3 constitutional coup and Auxilia Mnangagwa's planned ascendancy to president of Zimbabwe. One key intelligent finding, this is what is on the document. Zimbabwe is facing an imminent, pre-planned succession crisis of the highest order. President Emerson Mnangagwa will resign within 7 to 14 days of resigning. The Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment number 3 Bill cap 7 days of signing. Sorry, it says, let me capture it. President Emerson Mnangagwa will resign within 7 to 14 days of signing Constitution of Zimbabwe Amendment number 3 Bill cap 3 into law, triggering a constitutional mechanism to install First Lady Auxilia Mnangagwa as the new president of Zimbabwe. I didn't foresee that coming. We will be dealing with that. Let me first of all read to you the facts that are in the public domain. This operation codenamed, so listen to the operation that Mnangagwa wants to implement. It's called Operation Amai Zimbabwe. In English, Mother Zimbabwe, represent a sophisticated constitutional coup designed to bypass the constitutional succession rights of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, eliminate direct presidential elections one person, one vote, install Auxilia Mnangagwa for a full 7-year term through 2033, protect the Mnangagwa family and their financial interest from prosecution, consolidate power among a cabal of sanctioned businessmen and criminal syndicates. Now, critical judgment, and as it's written, judgment and confidential level. That's how the document is written. I'm just gonna read 4 pages of this document. It says, 1, President Mnangagwa will resign within 7 to 14 days of Cap 3 signing, or President Mnangagwa will force the dissolution of cabinet government members, including VPs through his signature and enactment of Cap 3. Through this way, this is how they will systematically fire the first vice president, CDGN Chiwenga, as he will not be reappointed in the next government. According to the Senate Cap 3 amendments, this leaves the second vice president, KD Mohati, to be the interim president, as he was the last acting president to act as acting president. The second vice president, KD Mohati, as the interim president, will then instruct the clerk of parliament to call for elections of the president through the MPs and Senate in a joint sitting. Thereafter, the parliament will elect the president, who after election will reconstruct the government. Auxilia Mnangagwa will be elected by parliament within 30 days, July 31, 2026. The operation is financed by the Takwire Tungwarara Chivayo Sakupanya criminal cartel. UPET Angel is operating as a strategic facilitator with diplomatic cover. 200 to 500 Zimbabweans are being trained in Belarus for rogue military intelligence operation. Work group mercenaries have been conducted for transitional security. Military intervention by Chiwenga faction is a significant risk. Now, widespread civil arrest and violent repression is anticipated. And it goes on to say civil unrest, mass protest. They say timeline, June 30 to August 2026. Violent state repression, critical. Military functional conflict, high, from July to August. International sanctions, July 2026 onwards. Economic collapse, hyperinflation, August 2026 onwards. Regional humanitarian crisis, September. They give the timeline. Cross-border refugee, they also give the timelines. Strategic assessment, the strategic objective. The Mnangagwa faction seeks to achieve through constitutional manipulation what cannot be achieved through democratic means. The indefinite extension of family rule and the protection of massive financial interest acquired through state capture. Primary objective as well as strategic importance: install Auxilia Mnangagwa as president, ensure family control of state machinery, extend term to 7 years through 2033, provide long-term stability for critical networks, bypass Chiwenga's succession, prevent investigation into corruption and human rights abuses, eliminate direct presidential elections, remove democratic accountability, and then protect financial empires, maintain access to state resources, looted funds, consolidate Zwikananda faction power, reward criminal cartel for financing operation. Secondary objectives: neutralize military operation. Wagner and Belarus trained mercenaries provide massively, suppress civil resistance, prepare for mass repression, international legitimization, counter sanctions and diplomatic isolation, establish dynastic rule, create precedent for family succession. The political contest, the 2017 president. In 2017, Mnangagwa and Chiwenga orchestrated a coup to remove Robert Mugabe, supposedly to save the country from First Lady Grace Mugabe. The military intervention was justified as a response to counter-revolutionary elements surrounding the president. The irony, now just 9 years later, Mnangagwa is orchestrating a remarkable similar operation, but this time to install his own first lady. The difference is that the architects have learned from Mugabe's mistake. One, Mugabe tried to impose grace while clinging to power. Mnangagwa will step aside voluntarily, triggering a constitutional mechanism. This provides legal cover for what is fundamentally a dynastic power grab, the Chiwenga factor. So this is what has been released. I'm trying to actually look at the entire document, but as soon as I lay my hands, because when I open, it just opens one page to the document. So I'm trying to look at the entire document. It's the risk intelligence risk assessment documents that we usually are exposed to. It is said to be a 21 document, a 21 pages document orchestrating this plan. Now, I didn't foresee this. Emmerson Tambutso Mnangagwa repeating the similar mistake that Robert Gabriel Mugabe did, and we are told that he has military backing from Belarus. Belarus would be providing training as well as also, which is usually used by the mercenaries that are failing big time in Ukraine, used by Russia. These are the groups that Emmerson Tambutso Mnangagwa have engaged. You remember, I think there is a collaboration with this information that we are getting. You remember the trip of Emmerson Tambutso Mnangagwa, just went to Belarus. In fact, he just went out of the country. And after some days, when they noticed that they were busted, the Belarus media announcing that Mnangagwa was indeed there. Even when Mnangagwa was coming back, he came secretly, and all this was unearthed by the Chiwenga faction. We got to be aware of what was happening. Now, in the longest scheme of things, Emmerson Tambutso Mnangagwa wants to give power to Auxilia Mnangagwa. I have noticed, Auxilia Mnangagwa has been busy, especially since 2023, being appointed also to the Politburo, and also, in the Ministry of Tourism. Barbara Ronzi was just a house girl in that Ministry of Tourism, if things are to be said. I think I've been saying this for the longest period of time. So undermines the people of Matabeleland. Just imagine Kembo Mwadi just being put there as a placeholder, not they don't see him. In fact, they don't see him as even a strong deputy president, because how could you plan around the men like that? And also this, if getting this intelligence report, it goes to show us how Mnangagwa is afraid of Chiwenga. They don't want to directly fire him and say you are fired. No, they want to they want to do it in such a way that he would not see it coming. But the question is, now that he has seen it coming, remember the plot to fire Chiwenga has always been a plan, but Emmerson Mnangagwa has been afraid for the longest period of time. He wanted to do it alongside the Director General Mangwanya that was fired, but we know that it has been on the horizon. But it shows you how this matter is not simple for him to just orchestrate. It's a very, very highly complex. Yet he understands the consequences that may come across if that is to be handled without care or due diligence. That is why Emmerson Mnangagwa wants to play smart. But now that he has been busted, what's the next plan? Are they going to continue implementing this plan? And you could tell that the tensions between Chiwenga and Mnangagwa are escalating. The fact that yesterday Chiwenga did not attend the funeral proceedings at the prickle farm of Emmerson Mnangagwa, being the vice president of the country. In fact, at the prickle farm, he has tried to avoid that farm as much as possible. Even when Mnangagwa was meeting with the members of the Joint Operation Command, the Vice President was supposed to be there, but we never saw him being there. So the tensions are high. Chiwenga only attends state functions such as Heroes Acre, burials, but the side shows for Emmerson Mnangagwa, I think he tries to ignore, or he is isolated already. So interesting times ahead, and it's quite interesting, and I will be looking at this issue. I can't exhaust it now. I'm still trying to digest. I need to go through the 21-page document. I've been trying to open it. That's why you saw this live broadcast taking quite some. Oh, now I think it's opening, but it's taking time. I wonder why. It's really taking time. So I may come with another edition later on, continuing from where I ended in terms of reading the documents. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe button so that next time when we come through, you become the very first one to watch us. You can financially support this channel by pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars. Is signing off. Let me love and leave you. Let's meet once again on the other side of the live broadcast as I give you more.